I've appreciated the way that the guys have approached this spring, and I think a lot of guys have gotten better, and yet as a team, I think we've still got a long ways to go. But they're putting the work in, and you appreciate that, and obviously got to finish up this week.
A lot of guys talked early, the veterans, about the importance of consistency in spring.
Right.
Have you seen consistency?
I think you're seeing it out of different guys, and the one thing that's good about spring is everyone gets a lot of work, and I think that certainly like you're talking about, the guys that are talking about are guys who probably played, and they value it so much, and I think that's the lesson to be learned for those that are still learning, and I think there's different stages to development, different stages to getting on the field, and one is that you can do it, right? And you show that you can do it, and then it's can you do it consistently, and so I think everyone's at different stages. So as a team, no, not there, but I have seen it, especially some of the guys that have played, and maybe more so, you're starting to see it with guys that are kind of working towards having a significant role in the team.
Paul, what are some of the questions you have about Jake Ferguson, what he can build on from last year, and also behind him, what questions do you have after him?
Yeah, I mean, there's, Jake's a really good football player, and really I thought, coming off of his first year of playing, there's so much to learn, and I think part of it too is, us learning about him. What are things that he does well, and I've liked his approach. Jake's incredibly competitive, and he wants to be really good. I think he's capable of being really good, and so I think that there's not one part of his game that you'd say don't have to work on, and yet certainly think that he's a really good, for us last year, he's a really good receiving tight end, and I thought he gave us quite a bit in the run game. As the room changed, then there's going to be more put on him, and yet I think he's ready for that, and that also kind of alludes to the next part of the question is, I think the depth behind there is yet to be defined, and I think Gabe Lloyd has certainly gotten a lot of work, and I think he's getting better. I liked what Coy was doing in some regards and some different facets of it. Obviously he got hurt, and then we got two freshmen coming in, so I think it's going to be, that room is still got a lot of work to go ahead of it, and yet I like the starting point with Jake, certainly.
Bradrick Shaw got some more work today.
Yeah.
Where have you seen just from his progress in general coming back from that injury, and what type of confidence do you have moving forward that in the fall he can?
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal really, with Brad is, can he do enough this spring to where he's really ready and confident for the summer? Can he have a great summer, of working out, conditioning, and that'll set up for fall. Love who Bradrick is, and appreciate, and you pull for him, after what he's gone through, and yet he stayed strong. So it's good to get him some stuff now, but really the goal is that he's ready to go, for full summer conditioning and workouts, and then, I don't worry about Bradrick, the football player. Certainly he's going to need some work in fall camp, but if he can get to fall camp healthy and ready to go, it'd be great to have him back.
Paul, you're replacing a lot of starters on the offensive line, but it seems like you have a lot of guys there that have a lot of versatility, can play multiple positions. How much does that kind of help you guys when you're looking at that group?
No, I think Joe's and that group's done a heck of a job. We do lose starters and good starters, guys that have played. Anxious to see what happens for them this weekend, and yet there's also a number of guys who played a lot of football, and so we'll have some that haven't, and I like the way they work, and I think they've all got a good knowledge base, and I think they've got an edge to them, and certainly got a lot of work ahead of them. But I like what they're doing, and we've got a mix of guys that have played. Maybe they haven't all started, but I think there's a lot of games. Cole didn't technically start, but played a lot of football, and Brusser would be the same. Obviously, Tyler's played. Urge has played a lot of football. I think David Moorman's had a good spring, and that's been fun to see.
You have a couple guys, hints on kickoffs and large on field goals. Do you feel good about moving into next season?
Yeah, I think that it's still work to be done. And I think both have had really good moments in spring, and yet I think that there's, it's fair to say there's a competition also, and the competition's good, and good for them. And we've tried to do more this spring of, certainly when we start practice, they know they're going to get these kicks, but you get into, whether it's a scrimmage situation or just a team where you're moving, you kind of that one shot. What are you going to do with the one shot? And I think they've approached it the right way, and we'll come out of it, and I feel confident that we'll come out of spring or a fall camp with a good kicker.
The punting game probably wasn't where you wanted it to be last season.
No.
But, Anthony was able to come back for that pinstripe.
Right.
Where have you seen in his development and just expectations for him now that he's a senior and one more chance at this?
Right, and I think the expectation should set it high, and certainly, we can be and need to be much better. And if you take a look just at our punt team, and then, he can contribute to that improvement in a big way. And goes back to what we first talked about with consistency, and I think he's approaching it the way you'd want a senior to approach it, and for us to be better as a team, he can do his part to help us, and that'd be good.
Do you have former players coming in this weekend again?
We do Friday, yeah.
The dinner and the practice and everything?
Yeah, it's a good day. Fun to see him, and you appreciate him coming back,
Have you done that every year since you've been here?
I think so.
Yeah. Considering how many games Michael Dieter and Bo Benshaw played here, do you, especially with Michael playing different positions, do you see those two guys as guys that can just maybe step right into the league and have a lot of success?
Well, I mean, I think the world of those two, but when you say step into the league and have a lot of success, I think they'll do all they can to give themselves a chance. The first thing you want them to do is, step in and be ready to go and compete. But it's a really good league, and they're good players, and they've earned the opportunity. And I'm excited to see where they're going to go. But I wouldn't do that to Michael or Bo and try to put unrealistic expectations. Do I think they're really good players and will be in the future? Absolutely. But it's they'll have a like anybody, when you change levels, there's going to be a learning curve, and they're ready for it, but they're going to have to go attack it.
Well, since it's go ahead.
Guys on both sides of the ball named Chryst as one of the major leaders of this team. What about him makes him well suited for that role?
Everything about Chryst makes him well suited to be a leader, and he's been awesome, throughout his career here. And I remember as a freshman, he grabbed fall camp, he grabs the team, and I think that's part of who he is. And I think he cares a ton about the guys, cares a ton about this program, and he backs up what he says. So I think everything about him lends itself to being a great leader.
Since it's the last time we'll meet with you until July.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Where do you feel you're at with the
It's
quarterback?
not. We got the media days.
Yeah, that's in July. You got a 3-month window
Earlier
here.
this year.
Where do you feel you're at with your quarterback situation coming out of the spring, and do you feel confident do you believe you go into that offseason as Jack as your guy? I know you don't do depth charts, but can you give an assessment on that?
No, I've liked the way they've approached this spring, and I think they've worked at it. I think each one has gotten something out of spring, which is really important, and not worried about. I like what Jack does, and Jack's done some really good things. I think he's learning from the experiences that he's had last year and also now, and not worried right now about, we're going to have a starting quarterback when we play our first game. But when we get to that, just want them to keep growing.
When do you guys make the determination on who gets those reps in the fall? I know it changes a little bit. How many guys you can give reps?
Yeah, I think you go into fall camp trying to get an idea and map it out, and then you see how camp goes. I think you do that at every position, and so you always have a plan going in, and then you're ready to adjust it accordingly.
You guys have a lot of not a lot of experience behind Zach Bond at outside linebacker. What have kind of been your thoughts about the way that group has come along?
Yeah, I think they've gotten a lot out of spring, and and I think Isaiah Green May's gotten a lot of work and done good things. Noah Burks has, Tyler Johnson's a guy that's played, a number of snaps, and and he's at a good point. Jalen Franklin, you know, has shown up, and it's good to have Spencer Lytle here. You know, so I think the group's going to need to continue to work, and you know, appreciate what Zach's done and kind of his approach to this spring and to this year, and yet, you know, like all of our team, they still need to keep working, keep going, and you know, spring ends up kind of being your second phase of 4 phases to get ready for the season. So, you know, you're just starting the process, and I mean, you're not just starting it, I guess, but you're still in the thick of it, and you just got to keep going, keep grinding.
The team had a tough time getting to the quarterback last season. Losing Connolly, Van Ginkel, and Edwards doesn't help that. How do you guys plan on improving on that this season?
Yeah, you know, I think that it's got to come from everyone, and you don't quite know. I mean, could you know, Isaiah Loudermilk help that? You know, Garrett Rand, you know, Bryson Williams be more productive, right? You got that group, and then you've got, you know, certainly you're talking about linebackers. You know, when you go through that, and certainly we've been lucky. We've had really good players there and that have impacted. And so it's got to come from somewhere, and where it comes from, you know, we'll find out.